Good morning. Shawn here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session. Remember, in the mobile application, you can always log into the mobile application, click the bottom right-hand corner to go ask a question, or you can log into our Accelerators Organization web portal to ask a question there. The more questions you ask, the more myself and the other mentors are going to help you in your business. Got some good questions today, so let's get started with the questions. Okay, the first question comes from Lysandra, and Lysandra says, what things would you recommend I can do to get as many leads as possible and also track those leads when at a trade show? The background is I have a baking business that specializes in desserts for weddings and special events. We attend trade shows to increase awareness and get leads to offer our services for weddings. What things have you found that help get leads while at a trade show? And then how do you track those after the show? Do you do giveaways, offer discounts, open to all ideas? Thanks. I've got about 9 or 10 different mentors in AO answering this for you, Lysandra. I've got a little experience with trade shows. In my last company, we did a lot of trade shows. One of the things that I found was a lot of the success of a trade show happens before and after the trade show. Before the trade show, you want to find out as a vendor if you can get a list of all the attendees, including their contact information. If so, which you should, if so, you want to load that contact information, and the trade shows should provide you a list in a what's called a .csv file. This is like this can be then uploaded directly into your CRM or into Excel, but into your CRM. Then, before the show even begins, you can start sending out marketing messages to the attendee list to start increasing the brand awareness of your booth, where to find you, what kind of discounts, what kind of giveaways, what kind of special offers they can get. You might even say, if you come by our booth, mention code XYZ for a free gift. That way you can start getting in front of people before the show even takes place. Most vendors do not do this, and it is a huge mistake to not do pre-marketing before the show even starts. The next thing is when you are at the show, you want to make sure and have your booth sufficiently manned, meaning you don't want it to just be you and one other person. You want at least 1 or 2 extra people there that are designated specifically to make sure and that they get the contact information of every single person that visited your booth. Do they have an immediate need? Do they have a future need? Are they a genuine prospect? Are they maybe a center of influence or another contact in your Rolodex that might be able to send you business? For example, maybe it's an event planner that is coming to your booth, and you want to make sure and designate that contact as an event planner, as a center of influence or sphere of influence that you want to make sure and develop a longer-term relationship with after the trade show, so that you can get more and more business from them on an ongoing basis. Always make sure you have plenty of people at your booth to be able to make sure that you're getting all of the lead information that you can. Because if you're talking to one person and somebody else comes over to the booth, you can't talk to everybody. So you want to be able to make sure and have enough people at the booth to make sure and maximize the amount of contacts that you have. Now, after the show, you then want to make sure you have quality information on everybody that came to the booth of what specific information you want to reach out to them with after the show. So that way you can document that information into your CRM software and say, this person is this type of lead, we need to send them this type of information, blah, 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 blah. This is where most small business owners fail as it relates to having success from trade shows. Now, as it relates to what kind of things can you do at the trade show, listen, the bottom line is everybody loves free stuff, but that doesn't always equate to you getting business. It's always nice to hand out some sort of swag, whether it's bags, pens, squeegee balls, People love when there's food at your booth, so if you can have a popcorn maker or a candy, one of those cotton candy machines or something like that, coffee, anything that you can do from a food perspective, people always love those types of things. But make sure that you have a real system in place so that when people do come to your booth, what is the process? What questions are you going to ask them to qualify them in order to build an immediate rapport, immediate relationship, in order to determine if that can be a true qualified prospect for your business. It's all about the planning before the show that helps the show become a success. Okay? Hope that helps. Next question comes from Vesna. And Vesna says, I need help knowing what kind of content to post on social media that increases brand awareness and leads. The background is I have a new coaching business helping professionals succeed in their careers, personal lives through transformational conversations and actionable strategies. Example, helping somebody get a salary increase, improving executive visibility, dealing with relationship matters or increasing confidence levels, etc. Unlike fitness photos that easily show before and after transformations, my client results are not as visual. Looking for ideas to showcase wins in order to get leads from social, maintaining client privacy. Thanks so much for your suggestions. Okay, as you can see, Vesna, I really reframed your question because the way that you had phrased it was very difficult to understand for the other mentors. So I rephrased your question. So really, to answer your question, it's really going to come back to what is your unique selling proposition as a coach, and how can you document wins in every different scenario that you're working with a client, whether it's increasing their salary, whether it's making them feel better. Everything should be able to be scored, okay? If you help somebody go from making $50,000 to $60,000, okay, that is a 20% increase in salary. You should be able to find a way creatively, working with your graphic design team, of how to document showing that your firm helped example client increase their salary by 20% or $10,000 within 3 phone calls with you. They paid $1,500 to get coaching services from you, and that resulted in a $10,000 per year increase in salary. Who wouldn't pay $1,500 to make an additional $10,000? You want to work with a graphic designer to be able to figure out what type of illustration or graph or something on social media that would show that type of result, okay? So think about every single way in which you help your client and try to put that into a tangible story that then you can share that with your graphic designer or design team or agency you work with, so they can put together really strong illustrations and social media posts that you can then use to create leads. Now listen, this is a whole complex spiderweb, Alice in Wonderland type of thing here, because when you post on social media, if somebody sees that post, generally speaking, they might go to your bio to see what you do, and then you're going to have a link in bio, and you want to make sure that all of your brand awareness and social media content is the beginning of a funnel that you then send somebody to in your bio that takes them to a web page to where they can easily see if they fit the type of client and make it easy for them to do business and maybe schedule a consultation, maybe buy a consultation call. Creating and crafting a perfect funnel from sales, from social media to website to getting on the phone with you, all of that needs to be wireframed out from a graphic design perspective, a flow perspective, and a copywriting perspective. And you need an entire team to work with you on knowing how to do that. Very, very complex. Generally speaking, you're going to work with either an agency or you're going to try to manage all those pieces yourself. This is one of the reasons why it's great to work with an agency that has all of those different pieces for you, so that you can then just say, here's what I need, do it for me. And that's the cost of doing business. You, me, we have to find a way to pay for it, okay? Because you want your focus to be, you want your time to be spent working with your clients, because that's where you're going to make the $100, $200, $500 an hour work. You can pay an agency $50 to $100 an hour. Let them be great at what they do to help you get the stuff you do so that you can spend your time working with your clients. That would be my recommendation. Okay, the next question comes from, and I've got a bunch of other mentors answering that for you. The next question comes from Rosalie, and Rosalie says, what are the best ways to discuss work performance concerns with team members in a way that will help them improve rather than feeling frustrated? The background is I have an accounting firm. When a team member gets stuck with a client's work, I jump on a call with them and resolve the issue almost immediately. I have seen them get frustrated and embarrassed with themselves. How can I better these conversations so we leave feeling great and positive? I've got a bunch of mentors answering this for you. It sounds to me like if you are having a team member that's doing work for your firm, they're having a problem and they reach out to you and then they leave feeling frustrated or embarrassed, it sounds like you're doing a really poor job communicating with them. And so let me put this into perspective, because this is a fun one for me, because we host, as you know, a lot of leadership and team building events right here in Nashville, Tennessee, in this room with AO. Communication is the number one thing is when it comes to everything in our business, from leadership, team building, culture, sales, marketing. And this is not only in our business life, but also in our personal life. And at Summer Social in August, as you know, we're bringing in a communication expert to help us increase our communication skills to be better leaders and better entrepreneurs. I'll give you a story, and you may have heard this story before, but I have a house manager here. Her name is Kim, and she has helped me become a better leader. And I'll tell you one of the scenarios, and I tell this story a lot because it's really applicable to what you're talking about. When I first met Kim, I was very OCD, and I was very abrupt and very direct, and that's just the way that I talk. So the first week that she was doing work for me, she was messing up on a couple things that I had trained her on, and I raised my voice a little bit. And I saw her shut down immediately. I recognized her shut down. So I let it go at that moment, because I recognized that as a leader, I have to recognize how people's personalities work and know when I can push and when I have to let off. I recognized that she shut down, and I had to make a decision. Okay, well, how do I work with this person? So I let the day go, and at the end of the day before she left, I said, hey, Kim, I want to talk to you about something. I said, I noticed that when I was talking to you earlier that you shut down. I could see your body language withdrawal, and I could see your face get flushed. What happened? Can you share with me what happened? And I came across a very open, and I really wanted to listen and learn. She said, and immediately again, she got flustered and kind of withdrawn. I said, listen, I really need to understand, because we're going to be working together. You're in my house. You're doing a lot of work for me, and I need to make sure we have a good communication between the two of us so that we're both happy. And she said, well, I had a very abusive relationship. My ex-husband used to yell at me and scream at me, and then it would escalate, and it did get physically abusive at the end of the relationship. So whenever somebody raises their voice or yells at me, that doesn't work for me. I have a really bad response to that. And I said, and so I let her talk, and then afterwards I said, Kim, thanks for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. It really helps me understand how I need to be a better communicator with you. And I will make sure that during the course of us working together, that I make sure and not raise my voice with you. I will tell you, I'm a very passionate individual, and there will be times that I will get excitable and I will raise my voice, but I will make sure that I'm never going to yell at you for something that you do. I understand you're going to make mistakes, and I'm going to work on my way of working with you during those mistakes to give you an open and caring and supportive environment instead of that environment that you came from. So that's one of the ways that we as leaders can work within our teams to make sure that we know who we can push. Now, there are other people that I can push and yell at, and it motivates them and inspires them to be better. But I noticed with Kim that I have to approach her from a very calm and teachable type of perspective, because she is not going to respond well to me being very direct and not that way. So this is a way for us as leaders to learn how to work with each and every type of person in our organization. And as a leader yourself, you want to get to know your team members better in order to understand how they tick, how they want to be spoken to, so that you can get the best results from them that'll be productive for them, you, and your company. Okay? So that's one of the ways that you can be a better leader. There's no specific format that is going to work with each and every different team member that you have. As leaders, we have to adapt and learn how to be better communicators for each and every person that we work with, and that's what makes us a better leader. There are a bunch of communication and leadership articles. In fact, there's literally, I'll bet 100. If you go into the AO Resource Center in the portal, and you go into the drop-down box of the categories, I would read all the articles that you can on leadership, in that category of leadership, and also in the communication category. If you start brushing up your skills with all those articles and start implementing some of the things that those articles talk about, it will make you a better leader. Your team will appreciate that you do this for them, and you're going to get better productivity out of your team, which is going to lead to better team members, better production, and a better company that you run, okay? So try those things. Okay, and I've got a bunch of other mentors answering that one for you as well. Okay, the next question comes from Rosalie, and Rosalie says, what strategies have worked for you when engaging and interacting with online Facebook and social media groups in order to attract new clients? The background is I have an accounting firm, and we focus on small business owners. This month we joined a few groups on Facebook to introduce the firm to more people. I'm looking for ideas to attract new clients. Thanks. I've got about 8 or 9 other mentors answering this for you. So as you know, I built AO all through Instagram and social media. So networking on social media is something I would consider myself to be expert on. One of the things that I would say if you're going to engage in social media groups is don't solicit and don't come across salesy. Look for places that you can provide value. When somebody asks a question or asks for help in the group, be there to offer help. But don't be one of those people that says, hey, contact me. That's what I do for a living. I can help you. I can take your money to help you. No. If you see somebody ask for help, offer guidance, and maybe even post an article, a link to an article, or a link to a video online that can help them with their problem. The more you do this and become a center of influence, you become an authority expert within that group of the go-to person when people need help. The more people will say, hey, could I schedule a call with you because I'd love to see how you could help my business. The more help you provide without asking for business, the more people will contact you. There is a saying that was taught to me by Tom Black, one of the mentors that you know here in AO. He was my first sales coach for my last business. And one of the things that he taught me and the people that he coached was this. If you give expecting in return, you won't get anything in return, or it will be very minimal. But if you give just for the sake of giving, expecting nothing in return, you're going to have an abundance of giving back to you. So in the same way in networking in online groups, just give, give, give. Don't expect anything in return. Just help people. People love to be helped. That's why they're in the Facebook group. They want to come to a community where people are there to exchange ideas and help each other. So help. It's that simple. The more you help and the more your face is out there and the more you provide great help and resources, the more people are going to reach out to you and want to hire you for their bookkeeping and accounting services. Okay? All right. The next question comes from Rosalie. And Rosalie says, how do I make a first meeting with a new contact productive? The background is I have an accounting firm located in South Florida. For the past year, I've been working on adding people from my prospect list on LinkedIn. Occasionally, I invite people to have coffee with me, but I don't want to make it so long that it will be an inconvenience to them. I'm a little lost on how to make that meeting, on how that meeting should work and how long it should last and what is the objective. Obviously, I want new clients and spheres of influence. Help. I've got about 10 different mentors answering this for you. So personally, I fucking hate coffee meetings. Just tell me what you want on the phone. Let's figure out what you do, what I do, and if we can help each other, great. But man, I really, really hate coffee meetings. If somebody says, hey, I want to get together for coffee to introduce myself, and I'm like, oh, fuck, another salesperson. So I think I reframed your question because I want these mentors to help you. What's really important to make any type of in-person or virtual meeting or phone call go well is to know exactly what you want from that interaction. People have limited time available to them. People love to meet new people that may be of benefit to them, whether it's today or at some point in the future. We all want to know people. Your net worth is determined by your net worth. We all need and want great people to call that we know that we can trust and that they are an expert when we need them. So think about that with every interaction that you have. What is the objective and how do you make sure that you come across as though you just are here to build a relationship? You're not necessarily here during an introduction to sell somebody. And it's okay if you're there to sell them, but be honest that that's what it's for. When you are just generically networking, the greatest networkers are always there to see what they can do to help other people. So if you genuinely will say, after you get done with the establishing of rapport questions, which those are questions that you've got to master, like simple ones are, how long have you lived here in Nashville? Where are you from originally? What brought you to Nashville? Those are three very simple questions that can lead to other rapport building questions, right? Always in any type of interaction, there is a certain amount of rapport building questions that you can ask that can start breaking the ice with people that you're interacting with. And at the Summer Social, we're going to actually help you with that as well. Remember, the person that asks the questions is actually the person controlling the conversation. People love to talk about themselves, but people don't want to feel like they're being interviewed. So you have to be able to come across in a way that seems that you are genuinely interested in who they are and what they're about. And once you can establish that rapport and help people disarm themselves from the salesy side, then you can truly create a great relationship. People love to meet new and great people in their life. So be a likable person, be genuine, be sincere, and provide value to the other person. If you do that properly, there is this thing called the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity says that if you do for me, then I am going to feel obligated to do for you. So if you ask me a bunch of questions and you get to know me and you find out how you can help my business, then my law of reciprocity says, well, if I like you and you've done a good job doing that for me, then I'm going to ask you how I can help you. And that might be becoming a customer or referring business to you. But remember, relationships are not Tinder transactions. Relationships are long-term. You may not sell that person today on being a referral agent for you or a customer. Your goal with any first interaction is to that person leave that conversation liking you and having a good impression of you, so that when you reach out to them again, they're welcoming to it. Okay? Too many people treat it like Tinder, and they just want to swipe left, get laid, and then it's wham bam, thank you, man. People love genuine, good, long relationships. So make sure you think with a long-term relationship in mind. Okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Leanna. And Leanna says, how do I find money to pay for things as a new business owner when cash flow is super tight and we just don't have money for certain things like websites, marketing, etc.? The background is I've been trying to set up the website myself, but it's been very difficult. I've checked YouTube how-to videos, tutorials, etc., but it's just too confusing for me. I've looked into Fiverr, but I'm hesitant. I know I need a better e-commerce website and some other things for my business in order to grow sales, but I feel stuck knowing how to get it done and how to pay for it. What did you do to find money to pay for things in the beginning? Okay, so Leanna, you can see that I completely reframed your question, because your original question was, how do I get someone to build a website for me when I don't have much money? Well, the answer to that question is no. Nobody is going to build you an amazing high-level website unless they're going to get paid for it. The only people that would do that for you would be your family or a very, very good friend. So here are some things that I did when I was in your situation. So when I started my last company, Uniguest, I was living in Memphis, Tennessee. I was 3 years behind on my tax returns. I was getting phone calls almost every single day for my property taxes and for my mortgage payment that before I would go into foreclosure. I had already gotten my car repossessed, and I had a cheap Jaguar convertible that was paid off, but it wasn't really a great work vehicle. I had no food in my refrigerator. I had nothing in my freezer. I was living off of ice cube soup from time to time. I was broke, and I was just robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I know this feeling very well. I did what you and your fiance are doing, is I just would make a little bit of money to just keep getting by. Well, what I focused on was, where could I make the most sales the fastest? And I focused there. Everything that I could do was about, how do I sell more product to use that to make more money? Once I figured out that, I immediately then hired an independent contractor salesperson and taught them how to do it, so that I could start getting more cash flow coming in. I know that your fiance is out there doing day-to-day sales. I've given him some homework. He didn't do the homework. Shirley is going to be canceling him from the group because he's obviously not using AO. So I'm sponsoring you and your fiance for free to be an AO. He's not using it. Shirley's going to be canceling him. I'm only allowing you to still be in the group because you're asking questions and you seem to be wanting to try to figure things out. And so I'm going to let you be in the group because I'm doing this, working for you and helping you for free. Okay? So I will do that for the 3 months that I told you, but I'm not going to help somebody for free that's not going to help themselves. So I can't help your business unless I know what kind of sales you guys are doing, okay? Unless I know how many sales calls you're doing each day, what the revenue is from that, and what kind of things you guys are doing, what your cash flow is, what your monthly sales are. You guys aren't keeping track of any of this stuff in a way that tells me what I can do to help you. But what I did when I was first starting out is I focused on, where was I going to make the most sales. So if you're going to be a business-to-business or business-to-consumer type business doing door-to-door sales, if you do that for 90 days, 120 days, whatever that might be, and you start to see that there's not enough cash flow coming in from those activities, there's only a couple things to look at. Tom Black talks about this in Pro Code Sales. if you're making enough sales calls and there's not enough people buying, then there's one of two problems. Either A, people don't want to buy your product, or B, your salesperson sucks. I don't know which one that is for your company, because Dimitri wouldn't get me the analytics that I needed to help you determine whether or not it was his salesmanship or there weren't enough people that wanted to buy the product. But I don't know what that is for your business because you guys aren't giving me the data. But if you're seeing enough people in a day and enough people aren't buying, it's got to be one of two things. People don't want your products and services, or your salespeople suck, which is Dimitri. So I don't know which one that is. Secondly, you might be going to the wrong people to buy your products. So if you're going to a certain type of customer prospect and you're seeing 100, 200 people and you're not making enough sales, then that's going to tell you that you're going to the wrong people to sell your products and services. You have to find different people and then test that and see if you find the right type of people that are going to buy your products and services. Now, as it relates to the business model that you're in, which is basically how you're going to distribute and sell your products and services, you've got the door-to-door, you've got the retail store, and now you want to try e-commerce. Well, if you're going to try e-commerce, then yes, it does take probably having a great Shopify store. And building a great Shopify store, and I'm actually working on this and trying to find a Shopify expert so that I can have a resource for people in AO. Building a Shopify e-commerce website, as you're finding, is not that easy. And you want to find somebody who actually is an expert at building a Shopify store. I don't have that resource right now. I'm going to find one. But I can tell you from my past experience, it's a few $1,000s minimum for the designer to just design a store. There's lots of great templates. But then Shopify, as you know, has all these different apps that can plug in, and abandoned cart and above the fold and all these different things that make it really hard to know how to work. We just have to find a way to find people that we have to find a way to pay the people that are going to help us learn how to do that. Because if you learn how to be a master of Shopify, you might as well get into the Shopify development business, which is not what you want to get into. So my advice to you, based on your question, which is, how do I find the money as a small business owner? You have the product that you want to sell. You have to get your product in front of the right people and the right number of those right people in order to create enough cash flow to start fueling your business. I already know that you and Dimitri are doing an amazing job of minimizing the amount of expenses that you have in your business, and you guys are working a lot of hours. If you're working a lot of hours, I'm telling you, it's one of two things that you're doing wrong. Either you're selling to the wrong people, or Dimitri is not a good salesperson. And you guys have to face that reality. And if you don't, you're going to end up doing what I did and many entrepreneurs have done, which is claiming bankruptcy and going broke, okay? So be careful going too long not changing what you're doing, because we talked about this on the last Zoom. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, okay? You guys have to face the reality. Is Dimitri a good enough salesperson? And if he is, and if he's not getting the sales, maybe you guys are going to the wrong people. We got to find that solution. But the bottom line is, you've got AO. You're working with AO and you're getting help. I'm really disappointed that Dimitri did not. It really disappointed me, especially when myself, Shirley, and everybody were offering this to you for free, and you guys didn't take it. He didn't take advantage of it. Really disappointed me. I really want to help you guys, but you guys got to help yourself in order to change things around. Okay? All right. The next question comes from Kelly, and this is. Give me a second. Got two more questions. Give me a second. I got to respond to a text message by TikTok. I got to get out of here. Hey Jesse, sorry brother. I am running late. Let me text you as soon as I'm off on my mentor session. Okay. Next question comes from Kelly, and Kelly says, how do you deal with feeling vulnerable and anxious about letting everyone know everything about your business and what you're all about? The background. We strive for excellence as an excavation company specializing in trenching, site prep, road work, aggregate hauling, and heavy equipment operations. I'm feeling really vulnerable right now and super anxious. I'm going to all general contractors, the city halls, CAL FIRE, residential builders, social media platforms, and generally letting it all hang out, trying to land a job / subcontract. I didn't expect to feel like I am right now. So Kelly, I hope you jump on the monthly Zoom that I'm doing tonight and you see this today. I'm not sure what would make you feel vulnerable. I need to understand what it is you're uncomfortable and anxious about. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we have to sell, which means we have to go out there and meet people, ask questions, talk about what we do, how we do it, determine if there's a need, and then put on our sales hat. I need to understand more, and this might involve a conversation. So you might want to book a get out of jail call with me by going into the portal, or jump on one of the monthly Zooms, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. But I'm not sure what you're feeling anxious about. I need to understand what it is you're feeling uncomfortable about. People don't need to understand, uber personal stuff that would make you feel uncomfortable. So I need to understand a little bit more about this. I'm not going to have any other mentors answer this until you give me a little bit more information, okay? So jump on a monthly Zoom, book a get out of jail call with me in the portal, or resubmit a question and let us know what it is you're really feeling anxious about, because this just isn't enough information yet, okay? All right, the last question comes from Rosalie. And Rosalie says, what third-party financing options can I offer clients to pay for the accounting services that I render to them? The background is I own an accounting firm located in South Florida. A few of our clients are currently having cash flow issues and my invoices are due on receipt. I do not want to also have cash flow issues, and I want to limit my risks with AR aging more than 15 days. Okay, I've got about 5 or 6 mentors answering for this. So I know that you only charge a small amount for what you do, somewhere around $500 to $1,000 per month or something like that. For me, I would have a credit card on file, and I would have it set up as a subscription service. If it were me in your business, I would not send an invoice. I need an ACH auto draft on account or credit card. That's simple. If you're dealing with $10,000 and you're splitting up payments or whatever, that's fine. But for your clients, I would set it up as a subscription. You're going to get charged every month on the first of the month or whenever we get started. I might prorate the first month. If you start on the 15th of the month, then your first invoice up front with a credit card ACH, I'm going to charge you this much for the 15 days, and then on the first of the month, you're going to get charged your monthly retainer. Credit card or ACH. I wouldn't do it any other way. There's no way that I would just send an invoice for $500 and wait for them to pay me and then have to go get that money. Your time spent following up on invoices and doing all that stuff is going to be far too great. If a client says that I don't have a checking account that you can draft each month, or I don't have a credit card, I probably wouldn't do business with that client. It's that simple. Because they're going to be more trouble than it's worth just going after the money that they owe you. And I'm sure that you're probably experiencing this, which is why you're after it. There's no third-party supplier that's going to finance somebody for $500 or $1,000. That's not worth it to you. You're not in the third-party financing business. You're in the accounting business. My fees are this. This is how you can pay me, ACH draft or a credit card. Which do you want to use? That's what I would do. I've got some other mentors answering this for you, but that's how I would solve it. Okay? All right, that's today's mentor session. If you have some more questions, get into the portal and ask. I got to get out of here and get on another call. Hope you have a great day, morning, or night, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you tonight on the next monthly Zoom on branding and business model. Talk to you later.